Welcome to the AT Center at TCNJ. This webinar is titled AI for Reading and Writing and is presented by Adam Krass. Adam Krass is an assistive technology consultant with over 30 years of experience providing AT services to children and adults with disabilities in school, work, and home settings. He is an emeritus adjunct professor in the Special Education and Literacy Department of Kean University in Union, New Jersey, a subcontractor of DRNJ, New Jersey's Tech Act program, and a past president and current trustee for NJCART, the New Jersey Coalition for the Advancement of Assistive and Rehabilitation Technology. Adam is based in northern New Jersey. These webinars are made possible through our partnership with the New Jersey Department of Education, Office of Special Education. The statements issued by guest presenters do not reflect the stance of the NJDOE OSE. Please use your professional judgment when implementing strategies and resources within your practice. Now, let's listen to Adam.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. It's a pleasure to be here. And before we jump in, I also want to give a shout out to Dina and Cheryl, our ASL interpreters today, for doing what they do. I'm going to share my screen and share my sound. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so welcome everyone. Today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence tools to support reading and writing. And we're also going to be adding a third topic on there, and that is teacher tools, AI-based teacher tools. This presentation is funded by the Assistive Technology Advocacy Center, ATAC, of Disability Rights New Jersey, and the AT Center at the College of New Jersey. And here are their web links. And I wanted to thank Vanessa again and Dina and Cheryl. Some upcoming webinars that I'm going to be doing with Brian Friedlander. We have one coming up next month in February, on February 10th, to talk about what assistive technology colleges are using and the pros and cons of the different ones. There's the registration link, and on Tuesday, March 10th, Brian and I are going to be talking about using artificial intelligence to support children and adults with disabilities across school, community, and workplace settings. So it's going to be a little bit of a bigger picture look at artificial intelligence. There is a shared Google Drive folder that has today's slideshow as well as some accompanying documents. Here is the link, and then here's the QR code. Should bring you right to that shared Google Drive folder. A little bit about myself. I'm an assistive technology consultant. I provide evaluations, trainings, ongoing support, professional development, webinars and workshops, modifications and customizations, serving Northern and Central New Jersey in person and New York City, and just about anywhere else remotely. I work with K-12 school districts throughout New Jersey, New Jersey Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services clients, and consumers working with New Jersey DDD supports program, New Jersey TBI Fund, the New Jersey Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired, and HIPSIL, which is an independent living center serving Bergen and Hudson counties. I offer free 30-minute assistive technology consultation sessions for anyone who's looking for help with assistive technology. These are all provided via Zoom, phone, Meet, FaceTime, etc. And if you're interested in a 30-minute AT consultation remotely, please email me or give me a call and we can schedule a time. This is especially good for for parents or for those who are just getting started with in the world of assistive technology and they're not really sure what the process is and how to get started and what resources are available. Now, ATAC is New Jersey's Tech Act project, so they get federal funding to provide information and referral about assistive technology. And one of the services they provide is the Assistive Technology Lending Center, which is housed at Advancing Opportunities. And this is a free lending center where you can borrow assistive technologies for usually about a month or so and try it out because it's all about trying it out. A big part of assistive technology is figuring out if it's a good match. And like buying a pair of shoes, you want to try them on to see if they fit, how they feel, etc. The ATAC Center also provides free coupon to ATIA's Learning Center. If you're not familiar with ATIA, it's the Assistive Technology Industry Association, and they have an awesome learning center with probably thousands of recorded webinars on every aspect of assistive technology. The courses are typically $40 a piece, but if you sign up on this registration link, you can get a free coupon code to have a full year of free access to these excellent, excellent webinars. So all that is required is that you're a resident of New Jersey or you work in New Jersey. So I'd just like to get a little bit of information about you. If you wouldn't mind, I have a small Menti poll. And if you could follow this QR code or the link and fill out page 3 of the Menti poll, it just helps me get a little bit of idea of who's in the group today and helps me kind of decide what I'm going to say or maybe what I'm going to skip. So let's take a quick look at the Menti poll. Here we go. And some of you are starting to join already. And again, page 3, just tell me a little bit about yourself, your role regarding assistive technology. And it looks like so far we've got some teachers and we've got some folks that are vocational counselors. And here's the QR code again. So thanks very much. Page 3 of the Menti poll. Okay, so assistive technology helps people with disabilities do tasks that are difficult to do because of their disability. And it has 2 parts. It has the devices or the things or the technologies, and it also has the services. Both of these are clearly stated in IDEA. And if someone is getting devices, it's important to make sure they're also getting training and support so that everyone that's helping that student, including the family members, know how to use the technology, how to integrate it into classroom activities, etc. So if you're on an IEP team and you're involved in helping a student get assistive technology, be the squeaky wheel and say, well, who's going to provide us with the training here? We need to know how to use it too. So this is important to have them both. And if you're not that familiar with assistive technology, here's some reasons why it's important. First of all, it supports a least restrictive environment for learning. This can be a support for inclusive education settings. AT supports greater participation with peers, including peers without disabilities. AT helps students access the general education curriculum. And it supports greater independence. What we're looking is we want students to learn and reach their educational goals, and assistive technology can be a key component of the support package for a student. So what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about AI in general terms. And we're going to talk about ways it can help and ways it might not be as helpful. I think it's important to have a balanced approach towards AI because it's a developing technology and it does some pretty amazing things and it does some things that are definitely not amazing. So it's good to be a little bit more of an informed consumer when it comes to using AI tools. Hopefully this webinar will help you increase your knowledge of the beneficial uses of AI. We're also going to talk about some resources, and then we're going to talk about AI for three different purposes. One is for reading support, the other is for writing support, and the third is for teacher support, primarily helping teachers prepare their teaching materials. And as Vanessa mentioned, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Vanessa will try to answer them. If she's unable to, she's just going to break in and ask the question, and we'll answer it in real time as you have it. So don't be shy about questions. Chances are, if you have the question, at least one other person has the question too. So first of all, AI is here to stay, and it's important for all of us to learn how to use it in positive ways. Um, I've been reading a lot of articles lately on AI, and one expert said we are experiencing the beta version of AI. It's not ready. It's not fully developed yet. It's getting there, but there's a lot of bugs in this technology. So it's important not to accept everything that AI tells you because it's not always 100% correct. It's important to check for errors. And this could be, in anything that AI is generating, there are possibilities that there's some incorrect information in there. So it's very important to always check anything that AI is generating for you, even though on the surface it may look perfect. Another thing is, if you're using web-based AI tools, it's important not to upload any sensitive or personal information like names, addresses, date of birth, etc., because there are some indications that some of the web-based AI tools may not be 100% secure. In other words, they may be prone in certain circumstances to being hacked. And so it's just in general practice, if you're working with sensitive information like student information, you might not want to upload an IEP to a web-based AI tool. That's not keeping that information secure and confidential, but also your own information. Um, I also read a nice article about written by an English professor who teaches at the college level, and he came up with a really good concept, and that is of friction. Friction is something that is required for learning. Learning is not easy. Learning is hard because we're actually changing the way our brain thinks about things. And this takes effort. It takes work. Um, Real learning takes effort. And sometimes the AI tools take that effort out of the process. So then you're left with this idea of, well, how much are you really learning by using that tool? And that's one of the guiding principles I'm trying to use with all the tools we're looking at is the tool doing too much for the individual and taking away the opportunity for them to learn. Now, another thing to think about is some AI tools might be better for modeling how to do a task. So if I want an example of how to summarize a chapter in a book, and I have no idea how to summarize, I might want AI to summarize that chapter so I can get an idea of what a summary looks like. What are some of the things that they pull out and include in the summary? What are some things they don't? And use those as an example. but then to follow it up with you doing the summary. So you really should always be doing the work, but sometimes AI can be a good tool for providing examples of a finished product. Now, as in the early days of social media, there's a lot of AI tools out there right now. Many of them will go away, or they'll get bought by bigger companies, or they'll get, or they'll just die on the vine. We don't know. But the one thing that typically happens is there's usually consolidation, um, in a couple of years. So a lot of the tools that we might be seeing now, they might go away. Some will stay. As teachers and parents, it's also important for us to teach students about the fine line between AI assistance and plagiarism and copying. Plagiarism is still not a good thing. It's still something that you're not supposed to do, even though AI can do, write an entire book report for you, or a research paper, or a reaction paper. It can do all of these things, but it's not really the student's work. And I think the younger kids who are growing up with AI, they may not fully understand why that's not a good idea. So it's important for us to make those distinctions and to point out, what's okay and what isn't. So some things that AI is good at is summarizing, creating to-do lists, scheduling, suggesting new ideas, and for modeling examples of finished products. Things that AI uh, should we should be a little cautious about is we don't want the tool to do the work for you. We have to be careful about getting inaccurate information from AI, and we have to worry about keeping our personal information safe. So Mike Murata, who some of you might know, had an interesting presentation on AI last year, and he said how much AI is enough or too much. This is a balancing act, and I think we're all kind of figuring this out as we go along. It is a continuum, so there's a spectrum of too much or not enough, and depending on the task and the student, that place on the continuum may move depending on how much support the individual needs. The AI should address the challenges related to a person's disability, but you don't want it doing the part of the task the person is able to do. And I think at the end of the day, if we're just looking at it from that lens, I think it's going to help us, get the benefits of AI and try to minimize the unhelpful parts of it. Okay, so for those of you who have access to the ATIA Learning Center I was just talking about, um, there's a great webinar in their archive. It's called No Hype: Practical Ways AI Can Help Teachers and Struggling Students Right Now by Bruce Alter. Bruce is an AT person, but he's also a former programmer, and he has a lot of historical knowledge about the evolution of technologies. This webinar is excellent. It gives you lots of great tips, gives you do's and don'ts about artificial intelligence in the education world. I highly recommend it. He talks a lot about ChatGPT, how to use it, um, checking results for accuracy. Uh, a lot of things he said, I'm saying to you today, don't use personal info. He also introduced a good website called AI for Education. And he likes to use AI for text leveling and creating worksheets to personalize with student interests. And we'll be looking at that a little bit. I just want to take a quick look at AI for education. And this is a really nice website designed for educators and students. And they've got a lot of good training modules, um, including what they're calling AI literacy. So it's kind of AI 101 to help students or teachers learn a little bit about AI from a big picture. Adoption strategies, AI policy developments. And the policy development, I think, is really important because in a lot of the schools that I work in, um, not a lot of the school districts have a policy about AI. And I think that's a mistake because AI is not going anywhere. The students are using it anyway. So I think it's important to have a policy um, that helps the teachers and students have an idea of a good way to use it. And also to set some standards so they know, okay, I can do this, but I shouldn't be doing that with AI. So AI for education, great resource. Okay, I'm going to open it up to all of you. I'd like to get your take on some of the AI tools you're using to support reading, writing, or teacher prep. So let's type it into the chat for AI tools that you use now for reading, writing, or teacher prep support, and I'll type them in as I see them in the chat. Okay, one vote for Chat GPT. Notebook LM, Gemini, Magic School. iDiffit, Claude. Yeah, there's a lot of folks who think Claude is kind of like the next level for generative AI. It's still kind of new, but early reviews seem to be pretty promising. Okay, I think I got room for one more. I think I got all of them. Oh, Magic. All right, Magic School. Okay. Pear Deck. Um, I haven't used Pear Deck in a while, but if it has an AI component, we'll put it in. Okay. Oh, Grok. Okay. I missed that one. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to start with reading. And some of the things that AI can help with are summarizing, previewing, learning new vocabulary, text leveling, explaining, and looking for books. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term text leveling, that's where you're taking a piece of text that might be written at, let's say, an eighth grade level, and you have a student who's reading on a fifth grade level. Text leveling tool will basically rewrite that text to be closer to a fifth grade level. And those tools have been around. Text leveling has been around for a while, and it has used artificial intelligence, which is another thing I wanted to mention. I mean, we've been using artificial intelligence for over 30 years. But the difference now is that ChatGPT is a whole nother level of artificial intelligence. But things like Dragon, Dictate, which was one of the earliest voice recognition programs, used a form of artificial intelligence. Optical character recognition uses a form of artificial intelligence. Handwriting recognition uses a form of artificial intelligence. So these have been around a long time, but they were not as powerful in terms of technology and capability as ChatGPT and the current generation of artificial intelligence tools. Okay, so we're going to look at, and a lot of the tools I talk about today are actually tools that many of you might be using already, but they've been adding artificial intelligence powered features to their existing tools. And I'm going to be focusing a lot on tools that many of us have been using for years, but putting a spotlight on the artificial intelligence powered tools that have been added to those technologies. The first is Read and Write for Google, and they've added a bunch of AI tools. Uh, One is called Rewordify, the other is Simplify Page, and they also have enhanced synthesized voices. These are all supported or backed by artificial intelligence. So let's take a quick look at those. So I've got a lot of information here, and I'm going to open up Read and Write for Google, which is the purple puzzle piece. And there we go. So the tool that's right here, this is called Simplify Page. And if you click it, it's going to take the text, open a new window, and it removes the videos, it removes the ads, and it just gives me the text. Once I get here, I can simplify it. Wow, that really simplified it. All right, that simplified it a little bit too much. Um, I think it's because it's only a short snippet. So if you have a longer article and you click the simplify, it will shorten the sentences, it'll change the vocabulary, and it will change the grade level of the text to make it a little easier to read. While you're here, you can also change the size. I mean the font size, and you could also change the colors. But the simplify and the removing of the videos and the advertisements, that's where the artificial intelligence comes in. We're just going to go back. The other tool is Rewordify. So if I highlight a sentence and I hit Rewordify, so you see it does change potentially to possibly. So it does modify the vocabulary a little bit, make it a little easier to read. Um, and just going to take a quick look at the voices. So if you go into the settings and you go into speech, you have a list of voices, and all the voices that have these little stars next to it are AI enhanced. So we're just going to try this one. And they sound a little bit better than many of the other synthesized voices.
Hello, this is your new voice.
Has a little bit more expression, a little bit more inflection, and for some people, it makes it a lot more interesting to listen to instead of a robotic sounding synthesized voice. And this can make a big difference if you're reading a book or reading something long. You want to find a voice that you could listen to for an hour or two. So giving people a lot of choices in terms of finding a voice that they like, and then being able to customize it in terms of the speed, can make a big difference in being able to hear this and listen to it for a long time and understand what they're reading, all of those. All right, the next tool I'm going to show you is Cami, and Cami has added um, a bunch of tools that are AI powered. Cami is a tool for reading and annotating PDFs. So if you're working with a lot of PDFs, Cami is a really nice tool that will help you do that. And I'm going to open an article. Where was it? Here it is. Um, about it's a Revolutionary War activity guide for New Jersey. And the Learn tools, I'm sorry, not the Learn tools, the Understand tools. Sorry about that. So it's the Understand tools. We've got a dictionary. We have a picture dictionary. We have a translate tool, an explain tool, a summarize tool, and an adjust tool. So I'm just going to click the explain, and I'm going to put a box around this paragraph, and let's see what happens. So it read the article, and then it actually starts to talk about why New Jersey played a significant role during the American Revolution. And they give you three, four, five different points to help you give you some background information for this paragraph. Now I'm going to try to summarize this article, this paragraph, using the summarize tool. And here's the summary. I have to say, the summary is not that much shorter than the original. So it might be better to do a summary on a larger section of text, but it's giving it to you in a different way, which sometimes can be helpful. Now the adjust, let's see what the adjust does. All right, so the adjust is like text leveling. So it has a slider scale. So if I want to make it 6 levels easier than it is, than the original is, it will rewrite it. So again, this is text leveling. If you want to take an article that's written on a certain grade level and you want to make it easier to read for students that are reading at a lower grade level, the adjust tool will do that. So these are all built into the full version of Cami, and I think they're very helpful. Okay, the next tool is called Talpa Search. Talpa Search is an AI supported website that helps you look for books. And I think this is really helpful because a lot of times if a student likes a certain book series, and they finish the series and it's like, well, what should I read next? Well, if they like the series, it would be great to be able to search um, for books that are like that, which you can already do, with Goodreads and things like that. But Talpa allows you to add more, and also you can type it more like a Chat GPT prompt. So I could say, find books that are like the Percy Jackson series, but with dragons. I have no idea if anything's going to come up, but let's see. All right. And here's a whole bunch of books that have dragons, and they're supposedly similar to the Percy Jackson series. Lots of choices. You could also put in a book, a grade level. Let's say I want 4th grade reading level. And so it took some of those books out. For instance, the Aragon series, our son read those. They're a little bit harder than fourth grade. So I don't know what book search website you're using. I just started using Talpa, and I'm finding that it's pretty helpful. And I believe you can create all kinds of searches for finding books. Now, of course, a lot of us are using text to speech for helping with reading. The summaries are helpful, um, especially to preview a book. I think a summary it can be quite helpful. So if you can't find a book summary online, you could use AI to generate a book summary of a book that you're about to read or maybe you're about to teach. So you can get a little bit more of a preview and help you get ready and prepared for what might be in that book, including new genres or new settings or new periods of time, etc. Um, Another website that's pretty helpful is Objective Ed. Uh, this website does have some AI enhanced reading tools, which you can definitely explore. So the next section we're going to be talking about is writing. We're going to be talking about editing, grammar and style, providing examples of writing types, AI enhanced word prediction and voice recognition, uh, handwriting recognition, um, some of the beta features of Read and Write for Google, Copilot in Microsoft Word, and Gemini for Chrome. Now, there was a really interesting article that was put out by MIT about writing. Again, they were looking at college students. They hired English professors to be the judges, and they had two groups of students. One group of students wrote the papers on their own, and the others used ChatGPT to do a lot of the writing. And the professors didn't know which papers were written in which ways. They just asked them to grade them. And they found overall that the essays written by AI were more homogeneous. They were more boring. They lacked the element of creativity and individuality, and they were less interesting to read. So I think it's important for student writers to understand that using ChatGPT, it might generate something that looks like a report, but it's not going to be very interesting to read. It's not going to be very creative, and it's not going to have any of your own individual um, preferences or individual creativity in those written reports or documents. So another good reason, to try to write it on your own. Again, we're going to just look quickly at some of the Read and Write for Google AI tools, the dictation shortcut, the enhanced synthesized voices, which we talked about. Um, I'll just briefly mention that speech recognition is pretty complicated computer task, and artificial intelligence is something that's making that work better. Um, and that's the same tool that's basically Google Docs voice typing. I want to take a look at Microsoft Word's Copilot tool for drafting, transforming, and chatting. So we're going to switch over to Microsoft Word. So Microsoft Word has something that many of you know called Copilot. It's built in, and Copilot will write a whole report for you. All right, so I asked it to write a summary about global warming in the United States. And in about less than 10 seconds, it wrote one, two, three, 4 paragraphs. I didn't have to do anything except come up with the prompt. This is not even the way that I would write something, but it's pretty impressive. It looks good. It looks like someone knew what they were doing, but I really have no idea if it's correct or not. I would have to actually go through and check it. Now, I could change it. I could say, make it funny. So it's going to rewrite the whole thing in a humorous way. And by the way, that's one of the tools you can use if you want to rewrite something in a different tone of voice or from a different perspective or make it more formal or less formal. And the reason I'm showing you this is not to recommend that students use this. I don't think they should to actually do their writing. But if you wanted to generate an example of a type of writing, I think a Copilot could be a really good tool for that, to provide an example. The next tool I wanted to show you was Grammarly with AI. And Grammarly is a tool that a lot of students have been using for a long time because it has not only spell checking, but it has grammar checking. And they've been, over the last 2 to 3 years, they've been adding a lot of AI tools to Grammarly, primarily in terms of editing supports, but also in terms of doing some of the writing. And I was recently in a school district in northern New Jersey, and they said they've stopped allowing all of their students from using Grammarly recently because it was doing too much of the work for them. So they had no idea what the students' writing skills were because Grammarly was doing the writing for them. So they had to actually switch to a different grammar checker that didn't do as much as Grammarly does. Now, of course, adults are not the same as students. They can do whatever they want if for the as long as it's legal. And if you like using Copilot or Grammarly to do your writing for you, then you're absolutely free to do that. But one word of caution, I would always very carefully read that draft to make sure that everything in it is, in fact, what you want to say because you're using it as you're writing. But also consider the idea of giving of citing the source. And I think more and more people should say, written by ChatGPT or written by Gemini or written by whatever AI tool wrote it, so that we're aware if someone actually wrote this themselves or if they had AI write it. The other thing that's nice about Copilot is the editing feature. So if you're writing a first draft and you actually wrote it and you wanted some help with editing it, depending on the school and the teacher, using Copilot might be acceptable. But again, I think it's always best to use it as an example of what Copilot would do or an example of one way to edit and revise your writing. Okay, our next topic is teacher tools. And I'm going to try to go through this a little bit quicker because I want to leave time for questions. So we're just going to go through these a little bit quicker. The slides are in your shared drive, so you can go through these. And if you have questions, please get in touch with me. But I think AI is great for creating customized lesson plans or learning games. For example, based on a student or class's interests. Differentiating lesson plans and activities. Using AI to model skills, as I've been talking about a lot. And there's an excellent article also in the shared Google Drive about using AI tools in the uh, early education classrooms. And they're talking about using ChatGPT for task analysis, controlling prompts, activities and lessons, creating songs, which I think is a great idea, data collection tables, and image generation. And again, this is in the shared drive. And as some of you mentioned, Magic School and AI for Education, School AI. There are a number of web-based AI tools that are designed for school folks, and a number of school districts are selecting one of these tools for their district to use. If your district has an AI tool that they are supporting, definitely use it. That means it's kind of been vetted, and they think that it's going to be a good choice for what you're doing. Now, I just wanted to show you something real quick in um, Copilot, and just a little fun activity I did, and let's see what happens. Okay, create a fraction lesson for fourth graders based on the New York Giants football team. So if you have football Giants fans in your class that hate fractions or hate learning about them, here is a lesson on fractions that uses the New York Giants information about football to use as examples when teaching fractions. And you could use any subject. The idea is that if there's certain things that your students are really interested in, but they are struggling with a topic, you might want to use that thing that they like to hook their interest and get them involved in the learning activity. This is nothing new. This technique has been around for a long time, but ChatGPT will do it for you much, much quicker. Of course, you need to check in and make sure everything is correct. But I think it's kind of a cool way to create an activity. Okay, we're coming to the end, and I wanted to thank all of you for being here today, first of all, and your great suggestions about the AI tools that you're using. If you have time after the webinar's over, if you could just go back to the Menti poll and complete 4, 5, and 6 for me, I would greatly appreciate it. If you ever worked on a grant, you have to do these things. But I've designed it to be very quick and easy. And I think we have some time to open up to, some verbal questions. If I get the thumbs up from Vanessa.
No, absolutely. So Adam, so first of all, thank you so much, obviously, for all the information. Similarly to yourself, of course, we have an evaluation to not only provide those PD hours, but also in terms of our reporting. But before we get to that, one thing Valerie actually had put in the chat. Hi, Valerie. Thinking about what you were talking about regarding, not passing off AI work as your own. So she had put in the chat this idea of citing AI in your work, right? So, looking at, of course, in the various styles of writing, MLA, APA, this is, of course, talking about APA in particular, this, specific reference, but just kind of looking at having this transparency to say, if you've gathered information through an AI tool, whether it's Claude, Notebook LM, Gemini, right? So you're gathering this information, it's helping you kind of pull these resources together, you vetted them, and then being able to cite them. So I think that's a very interesting, I've kind of heard talk about this, but just thinking about the considerations for AI. We don't want it doing students' work for them, as you talked about, obviously, in the beginning of the presentation and throughout. But if they are using it, to be able to cite how they're using it. And as you said too, the educators thinking about showing students that ethical use, right? To say, it's not that this is something we should never use. And as you mentioned, it's certainly not going away, but it's the how, right? It's with any tool. AI is obviously what we're talking about today, but any tool.
Yeah. I think it's similar to how we approached Wikipedia when it first came on the scene. I think Wikipedia is great. I use it all the time, but it can't be your only source of information. So I know a lot of teachers say, well, if you're going to use Wikipedia, that's fine as a starting point, but you're going to also need 2, 3, 4 other references in addition to that are more fact-based or more curated, like, encyclopedia website or something, because we can't just take Wikipedia's word for it that is actually true. It's probably true, but it might not be.
Sure.
And I think AI is kind of like that. It probably is true, but you can't rely only on that.
Of course. Yeah. The importance of that human check, as you had mentioned a couple of times, and just to reiterate that, I mean, how many times, let's say if you Google search for something and it gives you that AI like summary at the top, not always accurate, more often than not accurate. And so but again, as you mentioned, like way back when Google was first around, like those first couple of opportunities that they give you to click on, like if they're sponsored ads, that's probably not really what you're looking for either. So still in terms of that discernment of what information is accurate, what information, is not. And again, as with any tool, whether the teacher is using it for themselves or they're providing it for the student and the student is using it for their work, we just want to make sure that we have all of these pieces that we're considering and not just relying on the tool, but using that human check, obviously, is very important.
And if I have a minute, there was one thing I forgot to mention. There is a guide on how to write ChatGPT prompts in the shared folder. And the thing that's nice about this is we all need to learn how to use ChatGPT. So if you're teaching teachers or teaching students how to use it, that guide gives you a nice overview of what different words will do in a ChatGPT search.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you again for the resources that you provided again throughout, and really helping us look at this in a holistic way. I think that is really important. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Are you a New Jersey educator looking for support or professional development tailored to your district's AT needs? We offer free, customized training and coaching for NJ teachers, paraprofessionals, and families. From hands-on workshops to individual classroom support and small group facilitation, we're here to help. Visit us at atcenter.tcnj.edu to learn more. Have a question? Contact us at atcenter@tcnj.edu. Please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content on all things assistive technology.